get a volunteer to be our candle lighter for tonight, and someone else to volunteer to recite Kiddush for us. So who wants to be our candle lighter for tonight? All right, you got it, Rachel. And who's going to be saying Kiddush for us this evening? Okay, you got it, Bruce. All right, Rachel, why don't you come on up, and we'll get started here.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As our brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. I wasn't sure it was going to hold. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who houses us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to read together, if you want to join me, on with the 18 Shabbat blessings for peace in Israel and Palestine. May this light embrace all who are suffering through war. May this light spread and reach toward the hostages, wrapping them in a protective embrace. May this light illuminate paths of safety and shelter for the people of Gaza. May this light shatter barriers separating food and aid from innocent civilians. May this light open space for the people of Israel and Palestine to process their grief and anxiety. May this light break open the barriers in our hearts. May this light soften anger and fear. May this light erase thoughts of revenge. May this light give us strength to stand up against extremists in power. May this light hold gently the traumas of our past and the traumas of our present. May all the people who call Israel and Palestine their home come together to grieve and witness each other's pain. May we transform our grief into solidarity. May our solidarity pave the way for a shared future. May we nurture the divine spark in ourselves. May that spark shine out to include our families, friends, and neighbors, and all who live on earth. May the divine light from before creation inspire us to choose life. May this light empower us to build the future we want to see. May this light guide us on the path toward healing and peace. Bruce, would you like to come up now? Come on up.
Here we are.
Yeah, grab the text.
Yep. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav baratzavanu v'shabbat kadsho v'ahava uvratzon hinhilanu zikaron l'maaseh breshit ki hu yom tehila l'mikrei kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim ki banu v'yaharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kadshecha v'avat uvratzon hinhaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
L'chaim. right. Pastor Cohen, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Speaking of safety, over that week that I was out sick, we had a change in our sanctuary space, and I just kind of wanted to draw attention to this because I think it's so rad. We've got railings for the beam stairs now. And how much safer does that make most of us on a daily basis? Let's turn to page 127, and we'll read together in English. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. All right, going to turn forward to page 138 now for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, la la la, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor vezachor bedibur echad, Hishmianu el ha-meyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet, V'haliti la'lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi likrat kala, la la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor ha-beracha, merosh mikedem, nesucha sof maseh b'machashava techila lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, la la la, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech, ir melucha, kum mitzayim mitoch ha'afecha, Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha, vehu yachamo, alaychem lalecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, la la la, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi ve'et Adonai taritzi al yad ish ben partzi ve'nismecha ve'nagila lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, la la la, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, la la la, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. All right, folks, we are going to turn now to page 140 for Psalm 92. Mizmor shir leyom ha-Shabbat, tov lehodot lahadonai, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon, ulzamer l'shimcha elyon, lehagid בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. עלי אסור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. כי שמחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך ארנן. מה גודלו מעשיך אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. And finally, we'll turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Let's turn to page 145, and we'll read together in English. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence. Let's rise together, if you're able and comfortable doing so, as we turn to page 146 for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. All right, feel free to have a seat. And we'll read together on page 149. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari v'ravim. Page 150. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu אותנו למחרתה. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו Yisrael. All right, let's turn to 152 now, and please rise again with me if you're able and comfortable doing so for the opening of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vahed. All right, please have a seat. Page 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibart bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlektecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam laot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'hisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Adonai Elohechem Emet. We're going to continue on 157. Let's read together. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May the earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 158. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot osei pele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam vo'ed, ve'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ge'alom yad chazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Gal Yisrael. Let's read together on page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. All right, folks, we're going to turn forward to page 164. Please rise with us if you're able and comfortable doing so for the beginning of the Amidah. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 166. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot ve'imahot, u'mevi ge'ula livnei v'neihem, leman shemo bi'ahava. Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei metim atah rav lehoshia, morid hatal. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei metim berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunatol ishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umidal melach, Melech meimit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman lachayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hametim. Hey, folks, feel free to have a seat. Let's turn to page 171, and we'll read together in English. Days pass, and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We'll read again on page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu b'yamcha Yisrael, utfilatam b'ava tekabel, utehil ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha, el karov l'chol korav, panei alavadecha v'chonenu, shefoch ruchacha aleinu. ותחזן עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, המחזיר שכינתו לציון. All right, we're going to turn to page 176 now, And for our blessing of Thanksgiving, we're going to give folks a chance to share something you're feeling grateful about this week. So we'll start with the English, reading that together, and then if you'd like to share something, just raise your hand, and Robin will get the mic around to you, and you can share. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Just raise your hand if you'd like to share.
I know that my birthday was in August, but I still have 3 birthday celebrations this week and a few more to come. So I'm extremely grateful that I have a number of friends who want to celebrate my birthday with me, and one of them is here tonight because Carol took me out to lunch today for my birthday. So it's nice to have the kind of people who want to help you celebrate your good occasions with you.
Thank you. Anne Marie says, I'm thankful that my CAT scan results on my knee came back negative. Thanks, Anne Marie.
My wonderful little town and country, the little check engine light came on, so I took it over to my mechanic. He called me up and said, bad news, your alternator is dying. Something that would cost like well over $800 to repair. So I said, okay, I checked it out. I said, no, I don't want to get involved in doing that myself. So I said, go ahead. So he called me back today to say he rechecked his thing over again and found out that his test equipment was giving false positives, and that what was really wrong was the battery need replacing.
Nice.
So that's what he did, and it's now working fine.
Glad to hear it.
I'm very grateful that my cousin Amy is home from the hospital and is on her way to feeling much better.
Glad to hear it. Thank you.
I'm very grateful to Robin for having fixed a cement statue that Carol gave me, and it fell over and it broke. And you wouldn't know that it broke because Robin fixed it.
Wow.
So I'm extremely grateful to both Carol for giving me the statue and for Robin for fixing it.
All right. Nice.
I'm grateful to hear that our granddaughter is doing very well in her first year in college on her own and solving her own problems. This is a surprise, and we're loving it, and she's having a good time.
That's good.
We are very grateful. Last weekend, both of our sons and their families came to the house, and we had a long weekend together. We did Howe's Caverns, we did a baseball game, we did the Porch Fest, we did all sorts of great things and had a wonderful time. It was good to be together.
Thank you.
I'm grateful for my wonderful children. My daughter Rosalind was in an automobile accident. I'm grateful that she didn't have any injuries, but we're not sure whether the car is salvageable. And I'm grateful for my son. When I told him that I had to pay to take rides to go where I want to because I don't have a car anymore, and he sent me a letter with some money in it.
Oh. Thank you. All right, we'll finish up with the coda on the bottom. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulchana elehodod. And we'll continue on page 179. Let's read together. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of this earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Right. We'll take a moment for our own personal prayers and reflections before continuing on with Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimromav, uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Oseh Shalom bimromav, uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imeru amen. All right, folks, we are turning forward now to page 371 for the healing blessings. This evening, we are praying for Raphael Alietti, David Ben Esther, Terry Bennett, Dan Binbutel, Thomas Brophy, Tom Brown, Lester Berkman, Louis Calcetera, Tegan Christofferson, Keith DePan, Elsie Deutsch, Lou Ellen Egan, Lauren Furman, Sandra Gutman, Robin Haas, Sheila Hickok, Sarit Katsu, Sharon Kirsheimer, Helen Lewis, Jim Mason, John Muller, Vicki Neiman, Rowan Nocciolino, Jeremy Orden, Manny Orden, and Robin Orden, Grayson Porter, Ken Roberts, Jim Rosenstein, Sherry Schwartz, Shmuel Emet Ruvain Mibet Avraham Visara, Joe Strano, Jennifer Stile, Rabbi Lance Sussman, Liz Sussman, Timothy Swindell, Dick Watanabe, Rhonda Waxman, Elena Witter, Phyllis Young, Eugenia Zaroli, and Yeager Zoth. And if anyone would like to add anyone's name to our healing prayers tonight, just raise your hand or post it in the chat, and we'll get to you in a sec.
Helen May.
Thank you.
Joan Wagner and Carol Allen Story.
Thank you.
Rosalind Hayes.
Thank you.
Tony DiGirolamo, my stepfather, and Elvin Barshmuel Emmett Ruvain.
Thank you. Did you miss anybody? All right. Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha laimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu, mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Praying for a refuah shalema, a complete and speedy recovery to all those whom we are holding in our hearts this evening. All right. Take just a couple of moments now and share a couple of words of Torah with you. Try and keep this relatively succinct, because I know some of you are hoping to get on to the Luma Festival in a little bit, so I'm going to try and keep us right around time. So, something to consider. When you feel like something's being taken away from you, or something is in the process of being taken away from you, it's maybe not so unusual that your first reaction is going to be to feel like what? You want to get it back, right? Something important has been taken away from me. And so my orientation is very much going to come to, I want to get it back, what I had and now don't have anymore. That sentiment, right? That sentiment of longing and yearning to reclaim what was once ours and no longer is, and we want to have it again, animates so much of the prophetic mode of discourse that we find throughout the books, the sort of middle books of the Torah. The prophets who are either warning Israel that Israel's going to lose what it has, or the prophets who are yearning for reclaiming what it once had. Isaiah is one of those interesting prophets that kind of straddles that line, because there's kind of two halves of Isaiah, because the book of Isaiah was written over a very long period of time. The first half of it is very much about warning and chastising, and the second half of the book is very much about that yearning for bringing back what has been. And in that connection, there's a couple of lines from the Haftarah for this weekend, one of the Haftarot of consolation, the prophetic readings of encouragement and consolation that are traditionally read in the lead up to the high holidays, that kind of strike an interesting chord in this regard. Isaiah says, "Shout, O barren one, you who bore no child. Shout aloud for joy, you who did not give labor. For the children of the wife forlorn shall outnumber those of the espoused, said the Eternal. Enlarge the site of your tent. Let the cloths of your dwelling extend, do not stint. Lengthen the ropes and drive the pegs in firm." Now, this part of Isaiah was probably written either late in the period of the Judean monarchy or else during the time of the Babylonian exile. In other words, long after the portable tent that we call the Mishkan had been replaced by the stone edifice of Solomon's temple in the worship of the Jewish people. And yet, for the purpose of this redemptive message, the prophet goes back to that image of the tent. Why? Because unlike a stone building, a tent can be enlarged. The cloth walls opened up to make room for newcomers. As impressive as a permanent structure might be, you can't take it with you from place to place, and its boundaries are non-negotiable. As a prophet contemplating the traumatic shift from territoriality to exile, Isaiah expresses a characteristically Jewish yearning for a redemptive return. But importantly, the return he envisions is not simply a return, but also an expansion. He's not simply talking about getting back what we had. he's talking about going further. He's talking not about a woman who's lost her children and wants to get them back. He's talking about women who didn't have children in the first place, who now are going to get them, right? This is an expansive image, not simply a returning kind of image. If we have not grown as a people, and if the experience of exile hasn't changed us for the better, he seems to be saying, if the walls of our tent have not spread out to be more expansive and welcoming, then what possible benefit could there be from a return to those exact same circumstances that led to exile in the first place? Isaiah's promise that the children of the barren and forsaken will outnumber those of the espoused points to this need for a more expansive understanding of return. When we feel our values and our way of life are under attack, as many of us do these days, there's an understandable impulse to want to get back to what we once had. When things are being broken, we want to fix the things that are being broken. But if we focus too much on that longing to reclaim, it's easy to forget that that's also a way of moving backwards. But the road to redemption actually goes forward into the future. And the task of the rebuilders is not simply to get back to what they lost, but to make something better than what was lost. A more enlightened, more inclusive, more just society than what they had before. The reason liberal democratic values are under attack today is not because of what those values had already accomplished in our society. The reason they're under attack is because of what they had the potential to accomplish as they continued moving forward into the future. And that potential, that horizon of possibility that the fearful and the ignorant try to obscure by lighting the world on fire, is what we need to orient ourselves toward. That's the prophetic voice of orienting ourselves toward a future which is not simply about reclaiming what we had, but about continuing to build something even better. The possibility of a larger, more expansive tent than anything that we might have imagined before, strengthened by the hands of friends who come to join us from unanticipated directions along the way. That's the promise that Isaiah seems to be holding out here in his vision of the future. And so, as we kind of are sitting here in this moment that we are in today, in the moment that you happen to be in today, I think the thing to reflect on is precisely what's our vision of a world that's not only repaired, of a world that's not only a place where we've reclaimed what we think that we have lost or are losing. What's our vision of a world that maybe could be better than the things that we've lost? What's our vision of a society that's stronger, of institutions that are stronger than the ones that we see getting broken around us sometimes? If you've got anything you'd like to share, then just raise your hand. We'll get the mic around to you in a sec.
In the times that we live in now, the thing that upsets me the most is the fact that this earth has the resources to solve virtually all of the problems that humans have created for themselves. If we had the political and moral will, it's not that mankind has to, that some of us have to fight others of us to get those resources. We have enough, and we just refuse to use them wisely. where we fail to use them wisely.
I think that's a powerful, idea to hold in our hearts is we have enough, right? As scared as we might be that we don't, right? That we do. Thank you.
I also think what we have to do is find a way to be able to explain to people who feel very differently than we do somehow to get us all together. I mean, John's right. We have the things that we can take care of, but we somehow don't know how to get past the divisions that we have. And sometimes when I look at what people for the opposite side, what I see under some of the bigotry and some of the other things is fear. And somehow that needs to be addressed. The fear and anger needs to be addressed. I know there are folks who think there's a pie, and if someone gets a slightly bigger piece, that means there's less from them, rather than understanding that there's enough resources for all of us together. But I'm not sure how we get past that so that we can get everyone working together, as opposed to the folks who are on opposite sides of the issues.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. I think we had
As many of you know, my background is in political science, and so I look at what's happening now, and I think we don't have to go backwards to what we had. We have to look at what went wrong and make those institutions that protect our society stronger and better and more fair. Going back isn't the answer. Looking at the fractures that happened in our institutions and how they were undermined, we need to take a good hard look at how we shore those up and make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Thank you.
So I was thinking about how over the course of our history as Jews, we actually have done, I think, what you're describing, where we've had to come up with plan B and then plan C, etc., over and over again. And I think that that is a lot of why we're still here in this room. And so I know that we can. And I'm just waiting for that to happen again, and trying to, with some fellow friends, sort of nudge that along a little bit in my small way.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else want to share? All right. Let's wrap it up there. Thanks so much for your comments, folks. We're going to head back into the Siddur. And I'd like to get another volunteer, if I could. Is there anyone who's willing to volunteer to come up and open the Ark for us for Elena? Okay, Barbara, you got it. So please rise, folks, if you're able and comfortable doing so. We're going to turn to page 587 for Elena, which is very much a prayer about a redemptive vision about the future. Isn't this great? I love it. Wonderful. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'ateit gidula yotzer b'reshit, shehu sam chalkeinu liyached et shemo, v'gor aleinu l'hamlik malchuto, v'anachnu korim, u'mishachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Feel free to have a seat. Going to turn to page 591. Ve'nemar ve'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. All right, folks, the Mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. This week we are mourning the death of Joseph Feldman, and we are remembering the yahrzeits of Phyllis Goodman, Muriel Major, Stanley Yasin, Lawrence Alexander, Alma Mosher, Ben Cartiff, Dorothy Scher, James Biscoff, Louise Pennell, Marcia Whiteman, Louise J. Schwartzman, Norma Metrick Simon, Emmanuel Whiteman, Sheldon Binns, Charles Bruce, and Pauline Piacker. Please rise if you're able and comfortable doing so for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, B'yalma divra hirute v'yamlik malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dachol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shemei rabba mevarach le'olam ul'olmei almaya. Yit barach v'yish tabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar v'yit alev v'yit halal, shemei dekudsha barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'miran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. May their memories be for a blessing. All right, folks, have a seat. Just going to share one or two quick announcements with you this evening. Thanks once again to our security committee folks for coming in and leading us in that training before services tonight. It was super helpful, and it was really nice of you to make the time to come in and help get us educated about how to keep our community safe. Couple things coming up this month. Not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, this Sunday, September 7th, from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m., the religious school is holding an open house. So if you happen to know anyone in the area who might have kids who would be around the right age for Hebrew school and don't have a place to be, then maybe send them our way. Sisterhood Rummage Sale is also going to be on Sunday from 10 to 2 p.m. We've got a board meeting coming up on September 9th. And a couple of other events that are kind of coming up a little bit further down the road. In particular, we've got Slichot. I want to see if I've got the exact date for this in the wrote here. I ought to. It should be it should be the 13th. And that's going to be at Temple Concord this year. So we encourage people to come and join us for that. What's that? Okay. So we're going to wrap it up with Adon Olam on page 625. And then the oneg will be over in the social hall. Again, I'm a little it's a little hard for me to I'm still kind of struggling when it comes to the getting better kind of situation. So once again, we're actually going to have somebody take the challah and bring it into the social hall for motzi instead of doing motzi here. So, just better for everybody that way. Okay, so we're on page 625. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa v'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu hove vehu yeh betifara vehu echad ve'en sheni lehamshilo lehachbira beli reshit beli tachlit velo haoz v'hamisra vehu eli v'chai goali v'tzur chavli beyitzara vehu nisi umanos li menat kosi beyom ekra beyado apkid ruki meyeti shan beyaira veim ruki geviati Adonai li velo ira. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. You got it, Robin? Thank you. I appreciate it.